The Pac-12 apparently can't get a decent media rights deal. Why? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your participation. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the videos out on social media. Let people know that we are the very best in talking college football with you. All right, let's get right down to it. George Kliavkoff, Pac-12 commissioner, obviously is a horrible negotiator. Well, maybe he is. None of us know that. None of us are in the conference rooms or on the Zoom calls. But I've got a theory, a very basic and simple theory as to why the Pac-12 is having an issue right now, as in addition to the number of reasons we've given in the past, such as all the prime TV territory has already been taken up by the new Big 12 deal, the new SEC deal, and the new Big 10 deal. And of course, the ACC already has its ACC network and a tight relationship with ESPN/ABC. But it's also because, well, nobody watches Pac-12 football. Let's look at the ratings for 2022 compared to the other conferences. We're going to break it down conference by conference, but we start with the Pac-12 because they are on the clock. They need to get a new media rights deal to match or come anywhere close to the Big 12 and the ACC. So we look at the top 10 rated games in the Pac-12 in 2022. It starts out with, unfortunately, USC and UCLA. They're leaving the Pac-12, and this is the highest rated game in the conference this past season at 4.5 million viewers. And again, they're both leaving for the Big 10. So it makes it difficult for George Kliavkoff to negotiate a deal when the two teams that comprised the biggest draw by far in the conference this past football season are gone. Then it goes Washington, Oregon with almost 1 million less viewers. Think about that. It's about 20% less audience when you talk Ducks and Huskies in 2022. Oregon State at 3.56. And then UCLA and Cal, surprisingly, is the only other game over 3 million viewers in the Pac-12. So that's only 4 games out of, get this, you got 12 teams playing 9 conference games. You've got 54 conference games and only 4 had over 3 million viewers. 2 on Fox, 2 on ABC. You see the other games, USC and Stanford, came just under that 3 million mark, USC and Utah. And when you count it all up, when we look at 10 games played by 20 different teams during those games, you've got USC and UCLA comprising 2, 4, 6 of those 20 spots. And, of course, the biggest game of the year, USC and UCLA. And the other concerning way to look at this is that only 2 of those 10 games ranked in the top 50 in college football in 2022. And, of course, USC and UCLA are gone, the 28th highest-rated game. So the 27 highest-rated games in college football in 2022 were played in the other 4 conferences. Washington, Oregon was the only other top 50 game, barely making it at number 47. Let's go to Sports Media Watch and check out where the Pac-12 ranked each and every week in viewership. So in week 1, only non-conference games played here for the most part, and the Pac-12's biggest game was 9th that week in ratings. They had 3 of the top 15 games, they had 4 of the top 20, and then they had a number 30, and there's generally 30 to 35 games that are ranked nationally in terms of TV ratings. In week 2, the Pac-12 actually produced the 5th highest rated game of the week. That was a conference game between USC and Stanford. They also had the 4th highest game. And then in week 3, the conference did rather well with 3 of the top 10 games at numbers 7, 8, and 10. Also at number 12, that involved USC as well right there, number 16 and 19. So the Pac-12 contributed 6 of the top 20 games in college football, but again, none of the top 6. Then we go to week 4, and we've got 3 conference games that ranked in the top 20, but none in the top 8. We go to week 5, and USC and UCLA comprised the 2 games that ranked in the top 11 from the Pac-12 and 3 of the top 21 from this conference. In week 6, again, it's USC and UCLA with 2 of the top 10 games in the nation. And then at number 15 was the other Pac-12 participant. In week 7, the Pac-12 delivered 2 of the top 8 most viewed games of the week. One was in conference, one was out of conference. In Week 8, 2 of the top 9 in the nation. One involved USC or UCLA, and the other was at number 9. In Week 9, 1 in the top 10, and 3 in the top 17. Those were all conference games. In Week 10, you had 4 games that ranked in the top 23, but again, the Pac-12 was shut out of the top 5 in the nation. The best performance there was at number 8. Then in Week 11, the Pac-12 delivers the 4th highest rated game of the week. Also 2 of the top 11, 3 of the top 14, and 4 of the top 22, and those involved USC and UCLA. In Week 12, the Pac-12 delivered the 4th highest ranked game of the week. That was USC and UCLA, the highest ranked game for the conference the entire season. 2 of the top 8 and 3 of the top 22. And then the final weekend of the season, of course, then we've got USC and Notre Dame, which was the 3rd highest ranked game of Week 13. And then you had 3 of the top 10 as Oregon State was also a nice matchup. UCLA and Cal was the 10th highest rated game of Week 13. The Pac-12 in all had 5 of the top 26. Consider that once again that the Pac-12 championship game ranked either 4th or 5th among the Power 5. So this time you would have to consider that the ACC did not have a playoff contender between Clemson and North Carolina. That was outranked in terms of TV viewers by Utah and USC. Of course, the Trojans were playing for a playoff appearance. And then you look at the Big Ten. Michigan had a playoff appearance wrapped up, but had a much better TV viewership, as did the SEC, LSU, and Georgia. The Big 12 championship game had a lot of drama, both in terms of it being a good game and then also trying to determine whether TCU was going to hang on to a playoff spot, as the Horned Frogs lost to Kansas State in overtime. Also consider that every year, the SEC and the Big Ten by far have the best ratings of the championship games. Usually it's been the SEC, but sometimes the Big Ten. But they're always the top 2 with a huge gap over the other 3. And the Pac-12, again, usually is in 5th place. This year in 4th place, at least having a draw of a college football playoff contender in USC versus Clemson, North Carolina being out of it. So it's really not difficult to sell the Pac-12 as a decent football product that's going to gain decent levels of viewers, but to keep it competitive with the other 4 conferences, well, that's a difficult sell because the placeholders are not there on the schedule on Saturday, first and foremost, until late night. And then also there's the issue of having the marquee games. And then, of course, USC takes what is the best brand in the conference, even though Oregon outdrew USC the past couple seasons in terms of overall viewership. USC is the best brand and the most proven brand year after year after year. And you would have to say that UCLA is fighting for the 3, 4, 5 spot. So 2 of the top 5 brands take off. And when you put them together in a decent game, as we saw last season when UCLA finally was a contender in the Pac-12 and USC was playing for a playoff spot, well, they produced by far the most intriguing game and the most viewed and popular game in the Pac-12, and they're both heading to the Big Ten in 2024. Our thoughts about TV viewership as we presented to you right there, and we will go through the other conferences, and we can get a look at all of them and then break it all down together and compare them all side by side. Right here at the Voice of College Football. Gotta subscribe, and we'll see you soon.